Slack is a new way to communicate with your team. Messaging that's faster, better organized, and more secure. Conversations happen in channels that are easy to create, join, and search. Try it for free at slack.com. Slack, where work happens.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And welcome to the second hour of The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. We're continuing this hour with breaking news. President Trump planning to hold an event at the White House tomorrow, despite the fact that he is infected with the coronavirus. It's a stunning and potentially reckless move, given the nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, called the White House event many believe is responsible for the Trump administration outbreak a, quote, super spreader event. Trump's physician, Commander Sean Conley, said yesterday he expected the president could return to public engagements as soon as tomorrow. We're not sure what that is based on. We still do not have answers to basic questions about the president's health, such as, is the president still contagious? Has the president tested negative since being treated? When exactly did he last test negative? When did he contract the virus? Basic questions we still do not know the answers to. Answers you have every right to know. Ones that could be literally a matter of life and death for people the president wants to see as soon as tomorrow. Today, however, the president claims he feels perfect, that he might not have recovered at all from coronavirus if it had not been for an experimental antibody therapy, which the president called a cure. It is not a cure, as CNN's Caitlin Collins reports.
Just 1 week after he was admitted to the hospital, President Trump is insisting he's ready to get back on the campaign trail as medical experts worry it's too soon.
I feel better now than I did 2 weeks ago. It's crazy.
While stuck in isolation, Trump urged aides to schedule rallies but currently has no travel plan this weekend. Instead, he called into Rush Limbaugh's radio show for 2 hours today.
Could have been a bad victim. I fit certain categories that aren't so great, okay?
During his interview, the president exaggerated the known benefits of an experimental antibody cocktail that he was given, portraying it as a miracle.
I'm just saying that we have something that will cure this now, and a cure. And without us, without Trump administration, this would never have happened.
But the treatment made by Regeneron is not a cure and has not been proven to be effective in treating coronavirus. It's not widely available yet, though the company has applied for an emergency use authorization. Trump received it under a compassionate use program, though he did not mention that today.
But this is better than the vaccine, and it's going out literally as we speak.
The antibody cocktail has shown promise.
That's always been the most promising therapeutic category.
The president is putting his own spin on his health, given that his doctors have declined to take questions from reporters since Monday and have only issued paper statements instead. Last night, Trump refused to answer directly whether he has since tested negative.
Probably the test will be tomorrow, the actual test, because there's no reason to test all the time, but they found very little infection or virus. If any. I don't know that they found any. I didn't go into it greatly with the doctors.
This week, the president has made a series of head-spinning moves, first claiming that he wouldn't debate Joe Biden virtually, then asking for the debate to be delayed, and then demanding it happen next week as planned. Trump has also flip-flopped on another coronavirus relief bill, going from canceling the talks to now saying he wants a bigger dollar sign than even Democrats have asked for.
I would like to see a bigger stimulus package, frankly, than either the Democrats or the Republicans are offering. I'm going in the exact opposite now.
So, Jake, while we wait to see how those coronavirus negotiations play out, we do know that the president is planning on having an in-person event at the White House tomorrow, though it's not clear exactly how many people they're going to be inviting or whether the president has even gotten a negative test result as they are planning this event. The White House comms director said earlier they would let us know when the president has tested negative. And, Jake, they have not told us that yet, though the president did say last night he was going to be tested today. We have not got an update on any of those results from the White House.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's the medication or what, but this is erratic even for an erratic president. Caitlin Collins, thanks so much. Joining us now to discuss, CNN's Abby Phillip and Michael Schmidt from the New York Times. Check out Michael's new book, Donald Trump versus the United States, getting great reviews and by all accounts, an excellent read. Abby, if President Trump's doctors continue to refuse to answer basic questions about his health, how is anyone supposed to be assured that tomorrow's White House event with him will be safe?
I don't understand any of this, Jake. It doesn't make any sense. it doesn't make any sense that the White House would try to replicate the circumstances under which they created a massive super spreader event and a cluster of coronavirus cases at the White House by hosting people there when the president is still recovering from this very same virus and multiple White House officials at the senior level are also recovering and are in isolation. That doesn't make any sense from a political perspective, from a public health perspective. And yeah, I mean, we ought to have some sense of what, guidelines or justification the president's doctors are using to clear him for activity and what they think his level of infectivity is. I mean, people are entitled to know that because this is a president we already know, when he wants to speak to the public, he is taking his mask off to do that. And we should know if people are being potentially put at risk, if he's hosting some kind of event tomorrow and we don't see him wearing a mask. Not to mention, we don't know who else on that compound might have been exposed and has been infected by this virus.
Right. I mean, there are potentially dozens of people that are infected who work at the White House or have been to the White House. Michael, one of the things that you get into your book is the degree to which President Trump doesn't really have many guardrails around him. There really isn't anybody that's able to say, don't do that, this is a bad idea. You talk about the legal aspects, Donald Trump versus the United States. Is there anyone around him that you can tell that would say, it's probably not a good idea for you to have an event like this because you're still potentially infected?
It doesn't seem like it. And I don't think that the people from the first 2 years of the administrations, the McGahns and the Kellys and such, should be absolved of that period of time.
No, of course.
A lot of things that went on then that, history will probably not reflect well upon. But those people were guardrails at the same time. And there is a lot of more audacious behavior that has occurred in the last 2 years of the administration. That is just different. And I think it is pretty clear that those guardrails aren't there. And I think you see it most in the president's, not only his desires here on the coronavirus, but also with his continued rhetoric about the Justice Department. As I write in my book, there were a wide-scale effort to try and stop the president from meddling in the Justice Department's work, to try and get him to stop pressuring prosecutions. We're talking about the president of the United States using his power to go after his rivals. And the president here, with just a few months left in his first term in office, is just emboldened on this issue and is going on and on in ways that I just think are astounding in history about using law enforcement power of the state to go after the people that he thinks harmed him.
Yeah, and on that subject, Abby, just a few minutes ago on the president's favorite channel, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who the president's been publicly chastising, said that he's working hard to get, I can't even believe these words are coming out of my mouth, more of Hillary Clinton's emails out. And Dana Perino said, before the election, and Pompeo said, yes, working hard to get some out before the election. I mean, at some point, this enabling, well, not just at some point, this enabling is bad for the president, and yet, all these cabinet secretaries continue to do it.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit beyond enabling at this point. It's the Republican establishment on Capitol Hill, in the White House, elsewhere in the government, they are all in on this strategy. You only have to look as far as, in the Senate, where you had sitting senators using their committee to try to dig up dirt on Joe Biden and release it in a fashion that was designed to hurt his political campaign. Now you're hearing Pompeo explicitly saying that the timing is going to be related to this information coming out before the election, although, it's hard for me to understand how they think that that's going to impact Joe Biden, how Hillary Clinton's emails are going to impact Joe Biden. And then on top of that, you have a word from the Justice Department that this long expected Durham report is unlikely to have significant findings before the election, something that the president has been really public about how angry he is about that. Look, this is everyone being involved in this project of the president's to try to create an environment that is as close to 2016 as possible, except with the subject not being Hillary Clinton, the subject being Joe Biden. And I think that is really notable, that there is not only no pushback, there is full buy-in from the Republican Party and the establishment.
Yeah, and I mean, it's almost as if he's trying to get the Director of National Intelligence, John Ratcliffe, to be his own WikiLeaks, and he's trying to get Durham to be his Comey to replicate the circumstances under which he was elected. Michael, all, President Trump again criticizing Attorney General Barr, claiming Hillary Clinton should be in jail for deleting those emails. During another interview, the president called for Barr to prosecute Biden and Obama. Your book has a lot of reporting that this is something President Trump asks for, the Justice Department to go after his enemies.
The president's top lawyer at the White House, Don McGahn, wrote in secret memos to him in April of 2018, if you even appear to be meddling in the Justice Department's work, you could be impeached, people at the Justice Department could resign, and most importantly, you could feel the effects at the ballot box. These were the warnings from the president's lawyers that I outline in my book. And to your point on the Clinton email thing, and this is something that, you write a book and, you get different things and not everything gets a lot of attention. I report in my book that Tom Fitton, the head of Judicial Watch, was brought into the Oval Office by Steve Bannon to meet with Donald Trump about expediting the State Department's disclosure of Clinton emails. So this was the White House chief strategist bringing in this outside rabble-rouser for the president to lobby the president to get more emails out from his own State Department so they could continue to discredit Clinton. It's just another example of this unprecedented use of the executive branch by the president to help himself politically.
Abby Phillip, Michael Schmidt, thank you so much. Be sure to check out Michael Schmidt's great book. Why President Trump's push to get emergency approval for the Regeneron therapy he received could be potentially dangerous, and then new information about the men charged with plotting to kidnap the Democratic governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, and what one of them was getting from Amazon. Stay with us.
You have big plans for you. Eating well, losing weight, and living a healthy lifestyle. That's the goal. But this stuff is tough, and it's easy to feel like you don't have what it takes to change. Here's the secret, though. It's all in your head, and Noom can help show you how to unlock it. Based in psychology, Noom empowers you with the wisdom to understand the why behind your decisions, so you can make healthier ones. Here is how it works. First, go to Noom.com/CNN News and answer a few easy questions about your health and weight loss goals. And then start Nooming. Noom will help change your relationship with food, and it conveniently fits into your life. So you can look up recipes, read an article, and log your meal anytime, anywhere. Sign up for your trial today by visiting Noom, Noom.com/CNN News. Change your thinking, change your habits, and change for good with Noom.
In our Healthy Today, President Trump just admitting that he was, quote, not in great shape when he flew on Marine One to Walter Reed over the weekend. It's a reminder, of course, that the president's doctor said that very day that the president was doing, quote, well. And later that day, Kayleigh McEnany said the president was only going to Walter Reed out of an abundance of caution. Apparently, that's not true. The president today told Rush Limbaugh during a radio rally that the experimental antibody treatment he received healed him, and he might not have recovered from COVID at all if not for those drugs. CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, joins us now. Sanjay, we still do not have a full and complete picture of President Trump's condition, and yet now the president is continuing to push this Regeneron antibody treatment before it's even been approved by the FDA. Take a listen.
We're already starting the process. Hundreds of thousands of vials are being sent to the hospitals all over the country. People are going to get immediately better, like I did. I mean, I feel better now than I did 2 weeks ago. It's crazy.
Your reaction?
Well, I mean, there's a few reactions. One is that obviously he's one person, and we don't. That's why you do studies on these things to try and figure out if, in fact, this is something that's making people better. There's not a lot of data around this. There is a lot of enthusiasm, and I think it's warranted. You're giving antibodies, these proteins that can help neutralize the virus, and it makes sense imminently. But who does it work for? What dose to give? Does it have side effects? These are the reasons you do studies. But the other thing is, when he says I'm feeling better than 20 years ago, that wouldn't be the monoclonal antibodies. Those are to help neutralize the virus. What's making him feel so good? He's on other meds too, you remember. He took the remdesivir, And I think he's still getting steroids because typically it's a 10-day course. Of course, as you mentioned, the doctors haven't told us, so we don't know for sure. But when someone says they're feeling better like that, steroids tend to give people a lot of energy. I mean, sometimes to the point where people become manic and they don't sleep. They're very restless and things like that. So